I raised my daughter like a warship that could never sink until I discovered her husband had quietly chained her to $1 million in gambling debt, forged my name on the anchor, and convinced her that drowning was freedom. Welcome to Brian's Stories. I share new life stories here every day, and I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. Drop a comment down below telling me where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. I read every single comment, and it helps me to know I'm not alone in this. My name's Robert Hawthorne. Folks call me Bob when they're feeling brave. Everyone else sticks to Captain. I'm 68 years old, 6'2" when my back isn't acting up, and I still set my watch to Zulu time because civilian clocks feel like lying. This house has been in the Hawthorne family since my granddaddy smuggled rum through these marshes during Prohibition. Every floorboard knows my weight, every window knows my silhouette. I keep it perfect, brass polished, lines coiled, books alphabetized by author then year. A place for everything and everything in its place. That's what 43 years at sea does to a man. Chaos kills. Order keeps you breathing, but order didn't keep her breathing. Ellie, my Eleanor Rose, the only soft thing I was ever terrified of breaking. She came screaming into the world the same week Hurricane Hugo tried to tear Charleston off the map. Power was out for 12 days. I held her in the dark of MUSC Hospital with a flashlight between my teeth while her mama slept off the epidural. I counted 10 fingers, 10 toes, one heartbeat that sounded like a bosun's whistle straight into my soul. From that second one, I knew, this one outranks me. I raised her the only way I knew how, like a crewman who had to be ready for anything. Bed made with hospital corners by age 6, not tying merit badge before most kids could spell their middle name. I taught her to navigate by stars, splice line, read a barometer in her gut, told her tears were just salt water and salt water belongs in the ocean, not on her face. She never cried after age 9, not once, not even the day we buried her mama. I thought that meant I did it right. Turns out silence isn't the same as strength. Last time I saw her smile was Christmas 2 years ago. She showed up with that plastic surgeon husband of hers, Julian Vance, all perfect teeth and $1,000 loafers. He shook my hand like he was afraid I'd crush it. Ellie kissed my cheek and whispered, "Be nice, Daddy," like I was the one who needed the warning. And this is the night when everything I had built up so perfectly began to crumble. I'm sitting here in the dark, just the green glow of the desk lamp on all these shredded pieces of paper scattered across the mahogany like confetti from hell. My hands still smell like the kerosene heater I keep in the garage. I burned the originals an hour ago. Thought it would feel like control. It doesn't. It feels like I just torched the last proof that my little girl was ever really mine. The house is too quiet. Whitestone Point is always quiet after midnight, but tonight the quiet has teeth. I keep staring at the bank app on my phone, the joint account Ellie and I opened the day she graduated from College of Charleston. Zero balance, not even the courtesy $20 I always leave in there so it never looks abandoned. She promised me, 3 months ago, voice all bright and New York sharp. Dad, the consulting gig pays stupid money. I'll send something every Friday, you'll see. Fridays came and went. I didn't push. I told myself a Hawthorne keeps her word. I told myself discipline means trusting the chain of command, even when the chain is your own daughter. Then the phone rang 20 minutes ago. Some kid from fraud prevention, nervous as hell. Captain Hawthorne? Sir, we need to verify a guarantee you co-signed, $789,000 secured against your pension in the house. Signature matches yours, sir. I laughed at first. Actually laughed. Told him I hadn't signed a damn thing. He put me on hold, came back quieter. Sir, the primary guarantor is Eleanor Vance. Your signature is secondary, but it's there. Eleanor Vance, not Hawthorne anymore. Vance, like she erased me with a courthouse stamp. I can still see her at 19, standing on this same back porch in her dress whites, the day she decided not to go to the academy. Said she wasn't cut out for my kind of life. I told her that was fine, long as she kept her bearings. She hugged me so hard, I felt her shaking. Or maybe that was me. The shredded papers on the desk are the statements I printed before I lost my mind and fed them to the fire. Casino markers, Atlantic City, Vegas, signature on every single one. Eleanor R. Vance with that little flourish on the E she's had since middle school. My flourish? Really, I taught her how to sign like an officer. I pick up one of the scraps. It's got today's date and the words, "Due immediately or collection proceedings begin." Underneath, in smaller print, "Personal guarantee, Captor Robert M. Hawthorne, USCG." My own name weaponized. I don't remember standing up, but suddenly, I'm at the gun safe, spinning the dial like it's a combination lock on a sinking ship. The .38 feels cold and stupid in my hand. I set it back down. Not tonight. Tonight I need clear eyes. The phone buzzes again. Unknown number, local 843 area code. I answer, ready to chew somebody's soul out. "Captain Hawthorne?" Female voice, shaky, young. "You don't know me, but I know Ellie. She asked me to send you something." "Send me what?" There's a pause, then the ping of a text. I pull the phone away from my ear. It's a photo. Grainy, taken from across the street at night. Run-down strip mall off Highway 17 in Mount Pleasant. Neon sign half burnt out. And there's my daughter, standing under the flickering light like a ghost that forgot how to haunt. Hoodie 2 sizes too big. Hair in her face, arms wrapped around herself like she's holding her own ribs together. Eyes dead, not sad, dead. The girl on the phone whispers, "She can't talk long." He tracks the phones. "She just wanted you to know she's not in New York. She never was." Click, line goes dead. I zoom in on Ellie's face until the pixels hurt. That's my little girl who used to fall asleep on my chest during hurricanes because the thunder didn't scare her when Daddy's heartbeat was louder. And I haven't really seen her, in almost 2 years. The photo timestamp is tonight, 11:17 p.m. She's 12 miles away, hiding from her own husband, from me, from everything I taught her to salute. I look around this perfect house. Every book in place, every boot polished, every memory boxed and labeled like evidence. I built all this order so nothing could ever touch us again after her mama died. Turns out the thing that touched her worst was living inside the order I created. My knees crack when I stand up, old man noise. First time I ever hated the sound. I grab my keys. The truck starts on the first try, like even the Ford knows this can't wait till morning. As I back out of the driveway, the motion light hits the shredded papers still scattered on the desk through the window. They look like whitecaps, like the sea trying to break into my house and drag something out. I don't know what I'm going to do when I get to that apartment. I only know the man driving this truck tonight isn't the captain anymore. He's just a father who finally figured out the one storm he never prepared for was the one he built himself. And it's already taken everything. The sun's barely up, bleeding pink across the marsh grass, and I'm already on my knees in the boot room off the kitchen, rag in one hand, kiwi parade gloss in the other. These Corcorans are 23 years old. I bought them the week I made commander. Still look brand new because I treat them better than I ever treated myself. The house around me is exactly the way a Hawthorne house is supposed to be. Floors you could eat off, brass that blinds you, every picture frame level within a 30-second of arc. From the street it looks like one of those magazine spreads. Inside it's a museum nobody visits. One coffee cup in the sink, one side of the king bed still tucked with hospital corners, one heartbeat rattling around 3,000 square feet of silence. I work the polish in small circles, the way Chief Boatswain Mate Delgado taught me in '89. Smell of polish and salt air is the only thing that still calms the static in my head. I line the boots up beside yesterday's pair, toes touching the baseboard exactly 1 inch out, heels locked like they're waiting for inspection that'll never come. That's when my phone vibrates so hard it almost skitters off the boots. Unknown number. I almost let it ring out, but something in my gut says, pick it up. "Captain Hawthorne?" A woman's voice, whisper thin, scared. "Don't say my name out loud, please. Ellie gave me 30 seconds while he was in the bathroom." I go dead still. "Where is she?" "She can't talk. He tracks everything. I'm sending you something. Look at it when you're alone." The line dies. A second later, a text pings. One photo, no message. I open it and the rag slips from my hand. It's Ellie. My Ellie. standing under a flickering neon cross outside some free clinic off Mathis Ferry Road in Mount Pleasant. The hoodie she's drowning in used to be mine, USCG, faded letters across the chest. Her hair's greasy, shoved under a baseball cap. She's staring straight at the camera like she's already dead and just waiting for someone to notice. The timestamp says or 4:17 this morning, 12 miles from this perfect house. I zoom in until the screen blurs. Those aren't the eyes of the girl who used to run down the dock yelling, "Daddy, watch me cannonball." Those are the eyes of someone who's learned that screaming doesn't bring help. My knees crack when I stand up. The boots I just spent 40 minutes shining look ridiculous now, like toys. Behind me, the house keeps its perfect silence. The grandfather clock ticks like a metronome, counting down to something ugly. The fridge hums. The flag on the porch snaps once in the breeze and goes still again. I look at the photo one more time. There's a bruise blooming along her jaw you'd miss if you didn't know every inch of that face the way I do. And her left hand is pressed against her stomach like she's holding something in. Pain, fear, maybe both. The ideal family I built, it's all ash now. I can feel it crumbling in my chest. I've navigated hurricanes, drug interdictions, men lost overboard in 30-foot seas. I never once lost track of my crew, but I lost track of my own daughter. I don't know who took that picture or how close they had to get to do it. I don't know how long she's been this close and this far gone. I only know the man who kept this house perfect, who kept every boot leather mirror bright while his little girl was breaking 12 miles away. That man is done giving orders. The phone is still warm in my hand. I stare at the photo until the screen goes dark and her face disappears. Then I grab my keys off the hook and walk out without locking the door behind me. First time in 40 years. The perfect house can sit here and rot for all I care, because the ideal family image I spent a lifetime polishing just cracked clean in half. And the fracture starts with me admitting I have no idea who my daughter even is anymore. I'm still sitting in the truck in the driveway, engine running, photo of Ellie burning a hole through my phone screen. The house behind me looks like it's holding its breath, waiting for me to come back inside and pretend everything's still shipshape. I can't. Not yet. I dial a number I haven't used in months. It rings twice. "Bob, you old barnacle, it's barely 7:30. You dying?" Tom Riley's voice is gravel and cigarette smoke, same as it was when we ran the Atlantic together. He's retired too, lives over in Mount Pleasant now, spends his days fishing and pretending he doesn't miss the sea. "Tom, I need to see you right now." "Everything all right?" "No, nothing's all right." He doesn't ask again, just says, "Door's open, coffee's hot." 20 minutes later, I'm on his back porch overlooking Shem Creek. The air smells like low tide and diesel. Tom's already poured 2 mugs, black, no sugar, the way we always drank it on watch. He's in a faded Citadel hoodie, hair gone white, but the eyes are still sharp as a sextant. I hand him my phone without a word. He looks at the photo of Ellie under the clinic sign. His face doesn't change much, but the corners of his mouth tighten. "She's not in New York," I say, voice flat. "Never was, and she's in trouble, real trouble. Debt, her husband, the whole damn thing. They've got my name on some guarantee, too." Tom hands the phone back, takes a slow sip. "How long?" "Months, maybe longer. I didn't see it. I was too busy keeping the house perfect. The boots shined, the flag straight." He nods like he expected that answer. "You raised her like one of your crews, didn't you?" "I raised her to be safe. Discipline is the hinge of safety, Tom. You know that. You taught me half of it." He sets the mug down, leans forward. "I'm saying you ran that house like a cutter. Watch schedule, inspections, no room for error. Ellie was your best crewman. She never complained, never cried after her mama died. You took that as proof you were doing it right." After feeling my jaw clench, I denied ever laying a hand on my daughter, not even once. Tom, the man talking to me, put his mug down and leaned forward. He explained that I had run that house like a patrol boat. He pointed out that Ellie never complained or cried after her mother died, and I had taken that as proof that I was doing things right. I stared out at the creek and mumbled that she was strong. Tom countered that she was afraid to disappoint me, which was different. The words hit me like a rogue wave. Tom pointed to the photo of Ellie on my phone and remarked that the look in her eyes wasn't strength, but exhaustion. She wanted to breathe, not the safety I provided. I felt the porch sway. Although I mumbled that she was still breathing fine, Tom almost gently shook his head. Tom asked me if I thought Ellie married that cosmetic surgeon because he was the first man who didn't make her stand at attention, or if she signed the papers because she finally found someone who told her she could be free. My coffee now tasted like ash, making me set my mug down forcefully. Tom's voice dropped, telling me I had to decide what kind of fight this was, bursting in to drag my daughter out and locking the door to keep her safe the way I always had, or admitting that the safest place she had ever been turned out to be the only place she needed to escape from. I asked if Tom was saying I had ruined my daughter. Tom replied that I built a cage out of love, called it a ship, and now my daughter was still drowning. I thought about the times I made Ellie stand in the corner, about telling her that tears were for civilians, and about how proud I had been when she stopped crying entirely. Tom reached out and tapped the phone screen, where Ellie's face looked back at us. He quietly said she was only 12 miles away, but I still hadn't gone looking. I stood up, feeling my knees were made of wet rope. I'm going now. Tom told me I should go, but warned that when I arrived, I was no longer the captain, but just a father who finally realized his daughter was never crew, but should have been by his side. I walked to the truck without answering. The porch light is still on at my house when I pass by, shining on an empty driveway. I don't stop. Because the man who spent a lifetime believing discipline is the hinge of safety just heard the door creak open on the one thing he can't control. I don't go home. I drive straight to the public library on Calhoun Street, park in the back like I'm still running covert ops, and walk in with my ball cap pulled low. The reference librarian, Mrs. Pinkney, has known me since I was in knee pants. She doesn't ask questions when I ask for the quietest terminal in the corner. 2 hours later, my eyes feel like I've been staring into a welding arcs, but I've got the first real look at the man who married my daughter. Dr. Julian R. Vance, board-certified plastic surgeon, Instagram famous, the guy who does the mommy makeovers for half the junior league. On paper, he's golden. MU-SC residency, private practice on King Street, big house on the Battery, charity galas, the works. But money leaves footprints if you know how to read tide charts. I start with the gambling markers the bank flagged. Caesars Palace, Borgata, MGM Grand. All recent, all 6 figures, all paid in full within 48 hours. That kind of speed doesn't come from a surgeon's salary, even a greedy one. So I dig deeper. Shelby County property records first. Nothing in Julian's name except the show place on South Battery. Then, I try the Secretary of State database for LLCs. Takes me 4 tries with different spellings, but there it is. Palmetto Tide Holdings, LLC. Registered agent is some law firm in Wilmington, North Carolina. Sole member, JRV Properties Trust. I cross-reference the parcel numbers Palmetto Tide has been buying. 10 properties in the last 14 months. Rundown lots in North Charleston. A flood map wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. A couple of shuttered motels on Highway 52. 1 abandoned strip club near the Navy base. All cash purchases, all way over market value, all titled to the LLC the same week the casino markers got paid off. He's not paying debts, he's laundering the losses through dirt and concrete. My phone buzzes, private number, I answer on the first ring. Captain Hawthorne? Same scared girl voice from last night. I can't talk long, he just left for the gym. Tell me where she is. I will, but first you need to see this. Another text pings. A photo this time, clearer, taken from inside a car. Parking garage under the medical plaza on Calhoun. Julian in gym clothes, leaning into the open window of a black Tahoe with tinted plates. He's handing over a thick manila envelope. The guy in the driver's seat is big, shaved head, neck tattoos crawling above his collar. Doesn't look like any debt counselor I've ever seen. The girl whispers, "That's the 3rd time this month. Always cash, always the same guy." Who is he? I don't know, but Julian calls him Mr. Gray. And every time Mr. Gray leaves, Julian comes home smiling like he just won the lottery. Then he makes Ellie sign something new papers. The call drops. I stare at the photo until the screen dims. Julian's face is half lit, all teeth and confidence. The envelope is fat enough to choke a horse, and the Tahoe has Georgia plates, commercial, probably rented under a fake name. This isn't just a husband who likes the felt tables too much. This is a man who's borrowing from one shark to pay another, using my daughter's name as the collateral and hiding the bodies in condemned real estate. I forward everything to the encrypted email I set up for the lawyer I haven't even hired yet. Then I sit there in the quiet library, hands flat on the table like I'm steadying myself on a heaving deck. Tom's words keep looping. Funny thing is, right now I can't breathe either, because the photo of Julian's smiling face is choking the air right out of me. I look around at the neat rows of books, the soft fluorescent lights, the normal people living normal lives. None of them know there's a father 10 feet from the magazine rack realizing the enemy isn't just some slick doctor with a gambling problem. The enemy is a man who's willing to bury my daughter alive to keep his secrets afloat. And the worst part, I handed him the shovel the day I taught her that love and orders were the same damn thing. I close the laptop, stand up slow. Mrs. Pinckney gives me a little wave like everything's fine. It's not. Because that envelope in Julian's hand isn't just cash, it's a message. And whoever Mr. Gray is, he's coming back for more. I don't remember deciding to go. I just remember the truck already rolling across the Ravenel Bridge at 80 miles an hour, knuckles white on the wheel, the photo of Julian handing off that fat envelope burning in my head like a flare. Mount Pleasant, late afternoon. Heat still rising off the asphalt in waves. The address the girl gave me is a tired 2-story complex off Bowman Road. Place looks like it gave up on life around the same time I did. I parked 2 buildings over. The apartment number is 2B. Second floor, corner unit, blinds always drawn. I've got my old Coast Guard ball cap pulled low and a plain gray t-shirt so I don't look like the kind of man who polishes boots for fun. My phone buzzes. Local news alert pushed to my screen. Prominent Charleston plastic surgeon Dr. Julian Vance, named in malpractice suit patient, claims botched liposuction led to infection. Vance's office calls allegations frivolous. I stare at it. Timing's too perfect. Lawsuit filed yesterday hits the news the exact day I'm about to knock on his wife's door. That's not coincidence, doesn't exist in my world. This is smoke. Julian's tossing chaff so nobody looks at the real fire. I shove the phone in my pocket and step out. The air smells like fried food and somebody's cheap weed. I take the stairs 2 at a time, quiet, the way I used to board a drifting vessel. Apartment 2B. Doors cheap hollow core, paint chipped. I can hear a television inside, some afternoon talk show, volume low. I raise my fist to knock, then stop. Tom's voice again. She wants to breathe. I lower my hand, press my ear to the door instead. Nothing, no voices, no footsteps, just the canned laughter from the TV. Then my phone vibrates again. Another text from the same unknown number. He's on his way. Black Mercedes G-Wagon, 5 minutes out. I look down the railing. End of the parking lot tucked under a dying oak. There it is, shiny black G-Wagon, chrome wheels catching the sun like a warning beacon. South Carolina plates, Jave Ants 1, vanity plate, of course. He starts up the stairs. I melt back against the wall, heart hammering so loud I swear he'll hear it. He passes within 3 feet of me, humming some pop song, keys already in his hand. Doesn't even glance my way. Unlocks 2B and slips inside. Through the thin walls I hear his voice, smooth, syrupy. Hey babe, got your meds. You feeling better? Ellie's answer is too soft to make out, but it sounds small, broken. Julian laughs low. Good girl, we'll get you fixed up. Just one more signature and we're golden. Silence, then the rustle of paper. I feel every drop of blood in my body turn to ice water. He's in there right now, making her sign something else. While the world is distracted by a fake malpractice suit, he's tightening the noose. I'm standing right outside the door, close enough to kick it in, and I still don't know if I'm here to rescue her or just prove I was right all along. Julian is inside with my daughter. And whatever he's making her sign next is only the beginning. The real hit, the one that'll sink us all, is still coming. I'm pressed flat against the cinder block wall outside 2B, sweat running down my spine like I'm 25 again and boarding a go-fast in the windward passage. Inside, Julian's voice floats through the cheap door, smooth as ever, telling Ellie how much he loves her, how this one last signature will fix everything. I can't hear her answers, only the tiny tremor in the silence between his words. My phone is in my hand. One tap and 911 answers in 4 seconds. I could have uniforms here in 6 minutes, lights and sirens, battering ram if they need it. Domestic coercion, fraudulent documents, possible false imprisonment, pick your charge. They'd haul Julian out in cuffs and Ellie would be safe tonight. That's the law. Clean. By the book. Exactly how Captain Hawthorne solves problems. Or I could do it the other way. 43 years of training taught me how to get through a locked door in under 10 seconds without making a sound that carries past the hallway. I've got my old Gerber multi-tool in my pocket, tension wrench and pick still taped inside the handle. I could be inside before Julian finishes his sentence, put him on the floor, carry Ellie out over my shoulder like a rescue swimmer hauling a survivor out of a sinking helo. That's the military way. Direct action. No permission asked. That's also the way that ends with me in handcuffs and Julian spinning the story that I'm the violent, controlling father who terrorized his poor wife into needing protection. I look at the phone again, thumb hovering over the green call button. Then I look at the door. 2 choices. Same daughter on the other side. Inside, Julian laughs softly. Come on, sweetheart. You know I'd never let anything happen to you. The lie lands like a slap. I feel it on my own face. I think about every time I told Ellie, Hawthorns don't quit, Hawthorns don't cry, Hawthorns stand fast. I think about the night she was 12 and came home with a split lip because 3 girls cornered her behind the gym. I told her to square her shoulders, look them in the eye next time, never let them see weakness. She never told me there was a next time. She just stopped telling me anything at all. Tom's voice drifts up like smoke. She doesn't want your safety, Bob. She wants to breathe. My hand moves on its own. The phone slides back into my pocket. The Gerber comes out. Metal feels familiar, comforting, like betrayal. I slide the tension wrench into the bottom of the keyway, rake the pins once, twice. I ease the door open 2 inches. Smell of old pizza and fear rolls out. Julian's back is to me, standing over Ellie on the couch. She's curled into the corner, knees up, pen in shaking fingers, stack of papers on the coffee table. His hand is gentle on the back of her neck, thumb stroking like he's calming a nervous dog. I step inside, silent as a ghost, and pull the door almost shut behind me. Julian still hasn't noticed. Ellie's eyes flick up, see me, and widen in pure terror. Julian senses the shift, starts to turn. I could end this right now, 1 step, 1 grip on the back of his neck, and he's face down before he finishes the spin. But Ellie's face, she's looking at me like I'm the monster who just broke in. My hand rises, slow, not in threat but in surrender. I raise it palm out, the way you signal ceasefire. Julian sees me in the reflection of the television screen. His whole body stiffens. I don't move. I don't speak. I just stand there like a man waiting for permission to come aboard a ship that isn't his anymore. Julian's mouth opens, then closes. For the first time, he looks small. Ellie's lips part. A tiny sound escapes, almost a sob, almost my name. And suddenly, I am raising my hand for a different reason. Not to strike, not to grab, to knock, like a stranger. Like a father who finally learned the difference between rescuing and invading. My knuckles hover an inch from the wood I just picked open. Tom's words hit me one last time, soft as a confession, hard as a court order. She wants to breathe. My hand freezes mid-air, trembling for the first time in my life. Because whatever I choose in the next 3 seconds is going to follow us all into a courtroom, and the wrong choice will make sure we lose everything. My hand is still hanging in the air, knuckles an inch from the wood when the decision makes itself. Not the father's decision, the captain's. I drop my hand, pull the Gerber, and in 4 heartbeats, the cheap deadbolt sighs open like it's relieved to betray its owner. I slip inside, ease the door shut behind me until the latch clicks softer than a whisper. The whole evolution takes 7 seconds. Old habits. The apartment hits me like a gut punch. Stale cigarette smoke, takeout rot, and something sweeter clinging to everything like poison. The blinds are drawn tight. The only light is the blue flicker of a muted television showing some shopping channel. Couch cushions gutted, coffee table scarred with burn marks. This isn't a home, it's a holding cell. No Ellie, no Julian either. The G-Wagon is still downstairs, engine ticking as it cools, but the place is empty. I stand dead still, listening. Shower's not running, no footsteps overhead, nothing but the low hum of the refrigerator and my own pulse in my ears. Then I see the kitchen table. Papers. A thick stack, neatly aligned the way I taught Ellie to square away documents. On top is a ballpoint pen uncapped, like someone was interrupted mid-signature. Next to it, a cassette tape. The old kind, Maxell, label handwritten in faded blue ink. For Bob, play only if I'm gone. I step closer, boots silent on the grimy linoleum. The top document is a personal guarantee. This time for $1.2 million, collateral listed as Whitestone Point residence and USCG pension. Ellie's signature is at the bottom, shaky but unmistakable. Date, today, witnesses, none. Notary seal, blank. Underneath are 6 more identical contracts, each for escalating amounts, each signed in the same trembling hand. The last page is a quitclaim deed transferring ownership of my house to Palmetto Tide Holdings, LLC. Effective upon default. Default date circled in red, 30 days from today. I flip the cassette over in my palm like it's a live grenade. The plastic is warm, like someone was just holding it. The room tilts. I came here expecting to find my daughter broken. Instead, I walked into the moment Julian decided to bury us both. A floorboard creaks behind me. I spin, Gerber open and ready, but it's only the air conditioning kicking on. Nobody here. They must have left right after that phone call, taken Ellie somewhere else to finish whatever they started. I look around for anything that says she's coming back. Nothing. Even her old Coast Guard hoodie is gone from the couch. They've stripped the place of her. The television flickers, volume still muted. On screen, a woman is holding up a diamond necklace, smiling like the world isn't ending. The reflection in the black glass shows an old man in a gray t-shirt standing in the middle of a cage he built himself. I pocket the cassette and the top 2 contracts, folding them small, military precise. Evidence now, not just proof. As I turn to leave, my boot nudges something under the table. A single Polaroid, face down. I pick it up. It's Ellie. Taken today, maybe hours ago. She's sitting exactly where I'm standing, eyes red. Mascara tracks down both cheeks, Julian's hand visible on her shoulder squeezing hard enough to bruise. On the white border someone wrote in black Sharpie, "Tell Daddy hello." The apartment is silent, but I swear I can hear Julian laughing from wherever he's taken her. I slide the Polaroid into my pocket with the tape. The room isn't just empty, it's a message. And the cassette in my hand, the contracts, the photo. They're proof that Julian isn't just bleeding money. He's planning to disappear with everything I have left, and he's using my little girl as the exit ticket. I'm back in my truck, parked a block from the apartment, streetlights flickering like they're as tired as I am. The cassette tape sits heavy in my hand. The contracts and the Polaroid of Ellie are stuffed in the glove box, each one a blade twisting deeper. Julian's handwriting on that photo is still burning behind my eyes. I drove 3 miles to a gas station that still has a payphone, bought a cheap Walkman from the clerk for $20, no questions asked. Now I'm sitting here, headphones on, the tape's plastic edges digging into my palm. I don't want to press play. Not because I'm scared of what's on it, but because I already know it's going to break something I can't fix. I slide the cassette in, click, hiss of old magnetic tape, then her voice. "Bob, it's me, Caroline. If you're hearing this, I'm already gone, and I'm sorry for leaving you to clean up my mess." My chest locks up. Caroline's voice is soft, like she's whispering from the hospital bed where she spent her last weeks, chemo eating her from the inside. I can still smell the antiseptic, feel the cold of her hand when she begged me to take care of Ellie. "I've been lying to you," she says, and there's a pause, a cough, weak but stubborn. Not about big things, about me. About how tired I am, not just from the cancer, from you, from the way you run this house like a ship. Everything's so perfect it hurts to breathe sometimes. I stare out the windshield at a moth battering itself against the streetlight. My throat feels like it's full of sand. She told me I was a good man, even the best. However, she remarked that I loved my children as if giving orders. She knew Ellie felt it too. Even though she was only 12, She tried so hard to be my little sailor. She had witnessed her flinching when spilling milk, always waiting for me to correct her mistakes, and seeing her having to hide her sketchbook just because I told her that art was a hobby, not a future. The tape crackled. The woman's breathing on the tape slowed, becoming heavier. She recounted a day months ago when Ellie came home sobbing uncontrollably. She'd been pushed into a locker by some girls at school and called ugly names. She wanted to call the principal, but I refused. I told her she needed to toughen up, to learn to protect herself. She said that I hadn't seen the look on her face after I left the room. She looked hollow, as if she had disappointed me. She regretted not arguing with me about it, and now she feared that it was precisely things like that which would break her one day. Her voice dropped lower. She didn't say I was wrong for wanting her to be strong, but she emphasized that strength wasn't just about standing firm, but also knowing that someone has your back when you stumble. She expressed doubt that I would ever learn how to do that, and she worried that if she were gone, who would teach the girl that? My hands were shaking. I remembered that night clearly. Ellie's lip was swollen, her eyes red. I'd told her to straighten her shoulders, told her that hawthorns don't cry over bullies. She nodded, went into her room, and I thought I had taught her something. My hands were shaking. I remember that night clearly. Ellie's lips were swollen, her eyes red. I told her to straighten her shoulders, told her that hawthorns don't cry over bullies. She nodded, went into her room, and I thought I had taught her something. The tape stops with a click. Silence roars in. I rip the headphones off, throw them on the dash. My breath is coming too fast, like I'm surfacing from a dive with no air left. The bullying incident. I buried it, told myself it was one bad day, a lesson in grit. But Caroline saw it for what it was, a crack in Ellie's foundation I ignored, because I thought toughness was the only cement that mattered. I lean my head back, close my eyes. The Polaroid flashes in my mind. Ellie's red eyes, Julian's hand on her shoulder, that Sharpie scrawl mocking me. The contracts, her signature, my house signed away. Julian's not just a gambler, he's a vulture, and he's been picking at Ellie's bones for years, finding every weak spot I left behind. I pick up the cassette again, turn it over like it might tell me something new. It doesn't. But the question does. What else does Julian know about her that I don't? Because if he's got that kind of leverage, he's not just manipulating her signature. He's got her soul in a chokehold. And the worst part is, I'm the one who taught her to stand still for it. I'm back at Whitestone Point by dawn, the cassette tape and contracts locked in my safe like classified intel. Caroline's words are still echoing, that bullying story twisting in my gut like a knife I put there myself. I can't shake the question. Did Julian dig that up, use it to make Ellie feel like signing away her life was her idea of freedom? I call Harlan Brooks, old Coast Guard JAG buddy turned family law shark. He owes me from a court-martial I pulled him out of in '98. He answers on the second ring, voice gravelly from too many cigars. Bob, it's 5 a.m. This better be life or death. It's my daughter. 20 minutes later, he's in my library, tie loose, eyes sharp behind wire rims. I lay it all out. The guarantees, the shell company buys, the cash handoff photo, the Polaroid. The tape. He doesn't flinch, just spreads the documents across the mahogany like a battle map. We go hard and fast, he says. File for emergency injunction to freeze the contracts under duress. Subpoena the casinos for Julian's markers. Leak the real estate trail to the Post and Courier. Let the press chew on his shady flip empire while we build the manipulation case. I nod. For the first time in days, I feel the old commander stirring. Do it. By noon, we're in his office downtown, filing electronically. Harlan's paralegal scans everything, attaches affidavits from the bank fraud guy. We tip the reporter ourselves. Harlan knows the crime beat from years of DUIs and divorces. That afternoon, the story breaks online. Charleston surgeon's secret land grab amid gambling woes. Julian's face is plastered everywhere, smiling from some gala. Comments explode. Patients calling him out, old classmates whispering about his Vegas trips. We don't stop. Harlan subpoenas. Ellie's phone records. Turns out Julian's got her on a family plan. Texts going back months. Sign this and we're free, babe. Your dad can't control us anymore. We pull psyche val templates, argue isolation and coercion. I dig up the girl who sent the photos. The pushback comes quick. That night my phone rings unknown. Male voice, low, calm. Tell your lawyer to back off, Captain, or the next story's about how you roughed up a crewman in '02. Hospital records don't lie. Harlan gets a cease and desist from Julian's firm, claiming defamation. The nurse calls me crying, "Mind your business." The reporter backs off after his editor gets a call from the medical board, hinting at license reviews. Julian's playing dirty, using his country club buddies, his hospital board seats. He's not just retaliating, he's isolating us like he did Ellie. We hit back harder. Harlan files a motion for protective order on the nurse, leaks the tire slashing to a different paper. I drive to the clinic myself, confront the admin, get Julian's schedule, his offshore whispers from a chatty receptionist who hates him. For a week, it's war. Headlines ping-pong, our evidence, his denials, Ellie's still missing. I sleep maybe 3 hours a night, Caroline's tape on loop in my head, that bullying memory making me question every order I ever gave. Then, late one night, my encrypted email dings. Anonymous sender, Proton mail address. Subject, the real money. Attachment, bank statement scans. Cayman Islands account, numbered, balance $2.4 million, deposits matching Julian's casino payoffs exactly. Transfers to Palmetto Tide. Note typed, he thinks this is hidden. Use it, but verify. Trap? I stare at the screen, heart slamming. This could bury him. Proof the gambling's just the tip, money laundering the body. Harlan's asleep when I call. New intel, anonymous, Cayman account. He's wide awake. Could be gold, could be poison. If it's fake, we look like conspiracy nuts. If real, game over. I forward it. We spend an hour tracing the IP. The scans look legit, watermarks, signatures, but something's off. Too perfect, too timely. The house is dark, clock ticking like a bomb. Caroline's warning about my control, the bullying scar I left on Ellie. Julian had to know about that to twist her this bad. And now, this email. Dangling the knockout punch. Someone's pulling strings I can't see, and if I bite without knowing who, we lose everything. I need the sender's name, because this isn't evidence. It's bait. I find her at Palmetto Serenity Retreat, a wellness campus tucked behind live oaks off the Ashepoo River. Looks more like a boutique prison. White stucco walls, manicured gardens, security gates that close with a soft, expensive click. Julian checked her in as voluntary inpatient depression treatment the day the first news story dropped. Voluntary, my ass. I'm wearing a borrowed maintenance uniform, cap low, pushing a cart of towels. Harlan's forged work order got me past the gate. The rest is 40 years of learning how to move without being noticed. The nurse who hates Julian texted me Ellie's cottage number, 14B, end of the path, private patio, river view for the high-dollar breakdowns. It's dusk. Mosquitoes humming. I ditch the cart behind a palmetto, walk straight to her door like I belong. Knock once, soft. The door opens 6 inches. Ellie's face appears, thinner, eyes swollen, hair pulled back so tight it hurts to look at. She's in gray sweats, barefoot, wrists raw from scratching. When she sees me, she freezes. Daddy? The word cracks something open in my chest. I don't step forward. I just stand there, hands visible. Hey, baby girl. She looks past me, terrified Julian's lurking. You can't be here. He's not here, I made sure. Her shoulders sag, but she doesn't open the door wider. I'm fine. I needed space. You needed a locked facility with no phone and a husband who signs your commitment papers. Her chin trembles. Then the dam breaks. She pulls the door open and I step inside before she changes her mind. On the nightstand, a bottle of Ativan and a stack of fresh debt contracts, unsigned this time. Julian's not subtle. Ellie whispered that she had messed everything up. She explained that she thought if she helped Julian and proved she could make her own decisions, I would finally realize she wasn't my recruit anymore. I tried to interject, but Ellie spoke up sharply, asking me to listen. She felt that every time she tried to breathe, I tightened the rope. An A wasn't ever enough. It had to be perfect. She was forbidden from crying at her mother's funeral because I always insisted that Hawthorns don't show weakness. She said Julian listened to her, let her vent about me. He made her feel that choosing him was choosing herself. I felt the air leave my lungs. I slowly sat down in the chair opposite her, trying to give her the space she never had before. Ellie's voice broke as she recounted Julian saying everything would be fixed if she signed the papers. That once the debts were restructured, we could leave Charleston and start over in a place where no one expected her to be perfect. She said every time she hesitated, Julian convinced her that I would never let her be free, and he was the only one who loved her enough to fight me. I felt the floor tilt. All those years I thought I was protecting her, but it turned out I had built the exact cage Julian sold her a key to. Ellie looked at me, eyes glistening, saying Julian needed her because he was afraid of me. The words hung in the air like smoke. Afraid of me. A part of me surged to yell that Julian was a liar, a parasite, but the larger part of me understood there was just enough truth in that statement to lure my daughter in. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees, and used the softest voice I could manage. I admitted that I had been wrong about so many things. I affirmed that I was here to get her out, not to give orders, but I needed to understand everything Julian had used against her. Ellie hugged herself and rocked gently. She told me Julian had used things from when she was a child, things she had told him while drunk or crying or both, things about the locker and how I told her to tough it out on her own. Julian kept repeating, "See? Even your own father wouldn't protect you. I will." The room goes quiet except for the hum of the AC and the blood in my ears. That half-truth just became a full-blown torpedo. Because Julian didn't just promise freedom. He weaponized every time I failed her, every time I chose discipline over comfort, and convinced her that loving him was the only way to stop being afraid of me. Shelby County Courthouse smells like old wood and fear. I'm in the witness anteroom, tie too tight, palms sweating for the first time since I was a cadet. Harlan's pacing, muttering about objections. Ellie's already testified. The judge looked like he wanted to hug her. We're ahead. For now. Then the doors open, and in walks Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Goddamn Whitlock, class of '99, my old company commander at the Citadel. Tall, silver temples, same shark smile he wore when he was 20, and saluting me every morning. He's Julian's counsel now. I taught that boy how to shine brass and break men's spirits with a single look. I never thought he'd turn it on me. He nods like we're old pals. "Morning, Captain." I don't answer. My stomach already knows what's coming. Court resumes. Whitlock stands smooth as silk. Your Honor, before cross-examination of Captain Hawthorne, the defense moves to submit supplemental exhibits regarding the plaintiff's credibility. Harlan objects, overruled. First packet hits the evidence table, my own handwritten disciplinary logs from when Ellie was growing up. Copies of emails I sent her teachers. Eleanor will not be excused for tardiness again. Report cards with my red ink comments. Effort acceptable. Attitude requires adjustment. Even a photo from her senior yearbook where I made her retake the portrait because her smile wasn't regulation. Whitlock's voice is calm, almost kind. Captain Hawthorne demands perfection from everyone around him. His daughter grew up believing love was conditional on obedience. Is it any wonder she sought refuge with a husband who offered unconditional acceptance, even if that acceptance came with financial strings? The gallery murmurs. Ellie won't look at me. I feel the deck tilting. Harlan whispers, "Hold it together. This is theater." But Whitlock isn't finished. He clicks the projector. A new document appears, Coast Guard Form 3307, Incident Report, dated 2008, my signature at the bottom. "Captain Hawthorne," he says, turning to me. "Do you recognize this?" I do, God help me, I do. It's the night we lost Seaman Alvarez off the cutter Reliance. 40-foot seas, hypothermic, gone before we could get a line on him. Official finding, unavoidable tragedy. But the internal review shows I overruled the OOD's recommendation to heave to and launch the rescue boat sooner. I wanted to maintain patrol speed. 1 minute cost a life. Whitlock lets the silence stretch. You violated Article 110 and accepted a letter of reprimand that somehow disappeared from your public record. A letter your own daughter never knew about, until Dr. Vance discovered it. He slides another page across, an email from Julian to Ellie, timestamped last year. Thought you should know what kind of man your father really is. He'll sacrifice anyone to keep control. Don't let him do it to you. Whitlock faces the judge. Your Honor, the plaintiff wants this court to believe he's the protector here, but the evidence shows Captain Hawthorne is the original manipulator. His lifelong pattern of control created the exact vulnerability Dr. Vance is now accused of exploiting. We move to disqualify him as a witness on grounds of bias and moral authority. Ellie's finally looking at me, eyes wide, like she's seeing a stranger wearing her father's face. The judge bangs the gavel, calls recess. Whitlock walks past me, murmurs just loud enough for me to hear. Next filing will prove you're unfit to even speak about manipulation, sir, because you wrote the manual. He's not wrong, and the strike that's coming is already locked and loaded. Because the man who taught half of Charleston how to stand tall just got proven to be the biggest controller of them all. I'm sitting in the courthouse hallway on a bench that smells like bleach and old coffee, waiting for Ellie to come out of the family conference room. Whitlock's bombshell about Alvarez is still ringing in my ears. The judge recessed until tomorrow, but the damage is done. I can feel it in the way the bailiffs look at me now. Ellie finally appears, escorted by a social worker. She's pale, clutching a tissue like it's a lifeline. I stand up too fast, knees cracking. Hey, baby girl, can we talk? Just 5 minutes? She stops 3 feet away, arms crossed. The social worker hovers, but Ellie nods her off. I heard everything in there, she says, voice flat. About the sailor who died, about how you hid it. I swallow. I never hid it from the service, just from you. I thought, you thought wrong, again. Her eyes are glassy but hard. You keep saying this is about saving me, but it feels like you're just trying to win. Like, if you beat Julian, you get to be right, and I'm still the prize. The words hit harder than Whitlock's evidence. Ellie, that's not, isn't it? She steps closer, voice shaking. You want me to pick you over him so you can feel like the good guy, but I'm tired of being the battlefield. I reach for her hand. She pulls back like I'm poison. I'm done choosing between men who need to control me, she whispers. I'm going back to the retreat. Don't follow me. She walks away, doesn't look back. I stand there until the hallway empties, until even the janitor feels sorry for me. My phone buzzes as I reach the parking lot. Harlan. He asserted that the information about the Cayman accounts was completely fabricated. He stated that Interpol and the bank had just confirmed there were no such numbered accounts and no transfers had occurred. He said the documents were perfectly forged, and whoever sent them knew exactly how to fool us. The IP trace was also a dead end. The person behind this had covered their tracks like a professional. The situation was even worse. Whitlock had just filed a motion for sanctions, claiming we had engaged in a fraudulent scheme before the court. The judge was furious, and the entire financial aspect of our case had been destroyed. I closed my eyes, the offshore account gone, daughter gone, reputation gone. I drive home on autopilot. The house feels bigger, colder. I pour a bourbon I don't drink, sit in the dark library staring at the flag in its case. The medals on the wall look like cheap tin now. Everything I touched turned to ash today. I lost Ellie's trust the minute she heard I let a man die to keep my precious schedule. I lost the smoking gun evidence when the Cayman account turned out to be fairy dust. And tomorrow, Whitlock will stand up and tell the judge that a man who sacrifices lives for control has no business lecturing anyone about manipulation. I felt like I was at rock bottom. I had lost my daughter, lost the lawsuit, and had nothing left to lose. Just when I thought we were about to pull everything back together, the sea swept it all away. I'm sitting in the same chair where I burned those bank papers a lifetime ago, only now the safe is open and every skeleton I own is spread across the mahogany like a losing hand. Caroline's cassette sits in the old Walkman, headphones around my neck like a noose. Next to it, my disciplinary logs, the Alvarez incident report, the fake Cayman statements, and the nurse's last text before she stopped answering. I press play one more time. Caroline's voice, thin and tired. You taught her that love means never failing. But failing is human, Bob, and you never let her be human. I stopped the tape. Then I opened the thick folder Harlan dropped off tonight. Every email I ever sent Ellie's teachers, every corrective interview I wrote up when she was 9, 10, 15. Page after page of my own handwriting, red ink, demands for perfection. I read until the words blur. Not Julian. I built the cage, painted it pretty, called it protection. I taught her that tears were weakness, that asking for help was failure, that the only safe place was under my command. And when she finally broke free, the first man who offered her oxygen felt like salvation. I damaged my daughter long before Julian ever touched her. My chest caves in. I don't cry. Hawthorns don't cry. But something inside me cracks open anyway, and 43 years of iron discipline pour out onto the desk like blood. I'm still sitting there at 3 a.m. when my phone lights up. Unknown number, local. A young woman called, introducing herself as Lauren Whitmore. She reminded me that we had met at Julian's Christmas party last year, the blonde in the red dress. She exhaled a sob and confessed that she was the one who sent the Cayman files. She had forged them and wanted me to wave them in court so I would look desperate and dirty. The room tilted as I asked the reason. She replied simply but viciously that she loved Julian, and he loved or thought he loved Ellie. As long as she was in the picture, she was just the mistress with a ring on layaway. So she helped me dig my own grave, believing that once Ellie and I were ruined, Julian would finally let my daughter go and marry her. She whispered that Julian wouldn't let Ellie go. He was losing control, talking about disappearing with her to Costa Rica after the hearing, with new names and a new life, leaving her with nothing. So she decided to stop protecting him. The betrayer had just turned again, this time toward me. I told her that if she wanted to burn Julian, I would bring the gasoline. But she had to do it in open court. She had to testify to everything. In return, I would ensure the district attorney knew she came clean before the hammer fell. She hesitated, asking me if I could help her avoid jail. I replied that I could help her avoid becoming an accomplice after the fact. I stressed that it was her choice. I hang up, hands steady now. I damaged my daughter. That part can't be undone. But the man who did the damaging is finally ready to stop giving orders and start making amends. I sit alone in the dim kitchen of the white stone point house. Nothing feels steady anymore because the woman who tried to bury me has just handed me the shovel to dig Julian's grave instead. Yet even as the first pale edge of hope creeps across the horizon, I cannot shake the cold certainty that someone else was listening tonight, someone whose shadow has been stretching across this entire fight since the day the first forged document landed in my inbox. I pour coffee I will not drink, let it go cold while I replay every word Lauren whispered about Costa Rica and new names and Ellie would be forced to wear. And the realization settles over me like marsh fog that the plan we have just forged is beautiful in its brutality, yet terrifyingly fragile. Because everything now hinges on a scorned fiancé who has already betrayed once and could betray again if fear outweighs her anger. And the only thing missing from this sudden reversal of fortune is a single unimpeachable witness who can stand in open court and describe, in calm, devastating detail, the exact moment Julian Vance looked his wife in the eye and told her that signing away her future was the only way to prove she was finally free of me. I pick up the phone dial Harlan. I simply tell him that the weapon we have been praying for has walked straight into our hands wearing Lululemon and desperation, and that by 9 o'clock tomorrow, Lauren Whitmore will take the stand and gut Julian from sternum to spine, provided we can deliver the immunity letter before she changes her mind or Julian realizes the woman he planned to discard has become the blade at his throat. Harlan promises the paperwork will be signed and waiting at the clerk's window when the courthouse doors open. And as I hang up, I feel the first real breath I have taken. In weeks, deep, clean, almost painful, because for the first time since that grainy photograph of Ellie under the clinic sign arrived, the tide has finally turned and the current is running with us instead of against us. I step onto the back porch and I whisper a promise to the empty air, to Caroline, to the daughter who no longer trusts me. that tomorrow I will not give orders, I will not demand perfection, I will simply stand aside and let the truth do its merciless work. The courtroom is already packed when I walk in. Nothing has ever made my knees feel this unsteady. Because today I'm not wearing my uniform or my rank or my certainty. I'm only wearing the plain navy suit Ellie picked out for my retirement party and the knowledge that every word I speak from this moment forward will either heal us or finish breaking us. Julian is already at the defense table, immaculate, smiling that practiced surgeon smile that never reaches his eyes. And when he sees me, the smile falters for half a heartbeat because he knows something is wrong. He arrived an hour early to intercept Lauren, but she never appeared in the hallway where he waited. And now the bailiff is calling the court to order, and Harlan squeezes my arm once, steady, before guiding me to the stand. They swear me in, and I do not stand ramrod straight the way I once would have. I let my shoulders soften, let my hands rest open on the rail, because the man who once believed love was a chain of command is finally ready to speak as a father who has learned that love is the courage to loosen the line and trust the sea. Harlan asks the question gently. Captain Hawthorne, in your own words, what do you now understand about your relationship with your daughter and how it may have affected the events we are here to judge? I look straight at Ellie. I thought I was building her armor, I begin, voice rough but steady, but I was building walls so high she couldn't see daylight. I thought discipline was love and perfection was safety, silence was strength, and every time she reached for comfort, I handed her a new rule instead, until the day came when the first person who offered her oxygen felt like freedom, even when that oxygen was poisoned. The courtroom is utterly still. I was the first man who taught Eleanor that love hurts, that asking for help was failure, that tears were for civilians. Julian simply walked through the door I left open. My control did not protect her. It primed her for the exact kind of predator who promises rescue while slipping on the shackles. I am sorry, more sorry than any court can measure, and if the price has to be paid for the years I spent being her captain instead of her father, then let it be paid by me, not by her. Ellie's hand covers her mouth, tears sliding silently, but she does not look away. Harlan steps back. Whitlock rises for cross, mouth opening to twist my confession into more proof of overreach when the rear doors bang open and Lauren Whitmore strides down the aisle in heels that echo like gunshots. Face pale but jaw set, immunity agreement clutched in one manicured hand and a thumb drive in the other. Julian stands so fast his chair crashes backward. Lauren does not even glance at him. She walks straight to the witness stand. She lays out the forged Cayman accounts she created to discredit me. The texts where Julian laughed about breaking the old man, the night he forced Ellie to sign the final quitclaim while Lauren held the phone recording every word, the plane tickets to Costa Rica already booked under new names, the way he coached Ellie night after night that her father's love was a prison and his was the only key. She plays the recording, Julian's voice silky and cruel. Sign it, sweetheart. Once your daddy's house is gone, he'll finally have nothing left to control you with, and we can disappear. Julian lunges. Two bailiffs tackle him before he reaches the rail. The gallery erupts. The gavel pounds like thunder. The judge's face turns the color of old ash as the judge orders the contracts annulled on grounds of fraud, coercion, and marital duress, declares the guarantees void ab initio, and refers Dr. Julian Vance for immediate criminal prosecution on charges ranging from forgery to false imprisonment. Julian is cuffed right there, still shouting that Lauren is lying, that I paid her, that this is all a setup. But the recording keeps playing on loop and his own words drown him. When the courtroom finally quiets, Ellie stands, walks to me without waiting for permission, and folds herself into my arms the way she did when she was 5 years old and the world was still safe. I hold her the way I never let myself before, loosely, carefully, like something precious I no longer have the right to command, and I feel her shoulders shake against my chest while the tears I have never allowed myself finally come. I whisper into her hair the only orders I will ever give again. I'm here, no conditions, no rank, just here. Later, outside on the courthouse steps beneath, the cameras flash and reporters shout questions neither of us answers, because some things are too fragile for microphones, and we simply stand together in the warm October light while the chains we both wore for so long finally fall away. I am no longer the captain. I am only the lighthouse, sending steady light across the water for whoever needs it, asking nothing in return except the chance to keep shining. And now the courtroom is empty. The gavel has fallen, the chains are broken, and it's just you and me here in the quiet, the way it always feels at the end of these long nights when the story is finally told, and the only light left is the one between us. So tell me, beautiful soul, did this one reach you? Did it make your chest ache the way it made mine ache while I was living it? Where are you watching from tonight? Charleston, Manila, Sao Paulo, a little village in Romania, a quiet apartment in Toronto where the rain is tapping on the window just like it's tapping on mine right now? Drop your city in the comments, because I read every single one. And when I see where you are, it feels like we're sitting together on the same porch. If this story touched something inside you, if it reminded you of your own father, your own daughter, your own regrets, or your own healing, then please, let me know down below. Tell me your piece of the story. I save them all like love letters. And if you want more nights like this, more tears and redemption and truth spoken out loud in the dark, then support me with a super thanks, even the smallest $4.99 or whatever your heart feels. Because every one of those little hearts and dollars keeps the lamp burning so I can keep telling these stories that need to be told. Thank you truly from the deepest part of this old captain's heart for staying with me until the very last wave settled. You are the reason I keep sailing these stories home. On screen right now, you'll see 2 new real-life journeys that broke me open while I was writing them. Click whichever one calls to you. There are so many more waiting on the channel, all for you. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so we never lose each other in the tide. Until the next one, I'm sending you all the love and respect in the world. See you in the comments, and see you in the next story. Good night, my friend. You are not alone.